But his name is Ross Neilson, and he's still making hits. So Ross, tell me this: how long have you been playing music? Because you're not just a blues guy; you're also on the rock side. But
Yeah.
how long have you been playing?
I mean, I've been playing guitar for, getting close to 40 years now. And playing professionally for about 30 some years, 33 or 4 years, something like that.
Okay, and if I remember correctly, we first met when you were in Moncton or Fredericton. I can't remember.
Yeah, I was based out of Fredericton for a long time, yeah.
Okay, where are you at now?
I live in Saskatchewan now. I live in Saskatoon.
Can
Been out
you-
here, it'll be 10 years in April or May, I think.
Did you trade for a house using a barter system with a paperclip?
Something like that, yeah.
So I know that you sing, and you also your musical instrument of choice is a guitar. So any particular guitar type that you actually enjoy using?
I like one that stays in tune. That's my favorite kind. I'm not real particular to brands or anything like that. I like I like a humbucker kind of pickup system, 2-volume, 2-tone. That's kind of my preference. Beyond that, I really like something that stays in tune. That's really the main thing. I've used everything under the sun from Fenders and Gibsons. My main squeeze for 30 plus years has been a Yamaha semi-hollow body. I have a beautiful custom guitar that I had made out here by a fellow named Paul Hilliker. That is, without question, the nicest instrument I've ever touched. I use that one fairly regularly, but I've got a 12-string and a resonator, and they all do different things for different songs. So it just depends on what the song calls for, really.
As long as it stays in tune.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, I definitely still struggle with that. My main guitar is a little temperamental. She's been broken a couple times and has been across the country several dozen times, so she can be fussy, but she's allowed me. She's got the miles on it to be particular.
So tell me about the album. When did you actually start the project to finish it?
Well, just over a year ago is when it all kind of sort of started in high gear. The Saskatoon Blues Society for the past 2 years have been doing the Road to Memphis, which is a regional version of the International Blues Challenge.
Okay.
So the IBC happens in Memphis, Tennessee every year in January.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a collection of quote unquote blues players from all over the world, agents, record labels, all kinds of, festival buyers, all kinds of people from that kind of part of the musical genre and adjacent to that musical genre. And then, so the Saskatoon version of it, the Road to Memphis, is basically a glorified battle of the bands that the Blues Society has here. And I was lucky enough to win that last September. And when I found out that I won, I immediately reached out to my friend Kevin Houston, who is a Memphis engineer and record producer who I've worked with a couple times before, just to see if he was available. I thought if I'm going down there, I might as well book some studio time and try and capture something, which is I had done the International Blues Challenge before, 2 times before, and I did made a record both times I went down previous as well with Kevin. And he was available. So I thought, hey, maybe we'll just go in and do a quick and dirty, I'll do a solo performance. He can capture it. I'll try and cut some tunes that I've released in a band format and do them solo, just to have something to sell at shows and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then I started fundraising for the trip, and the city of Saskatoon really got behind me in a great big way. And it became obvious very quickly that I was going to be able to book several days in the studio and hire a band. And I thought, well, I better do some new material then, if that's the case. I don't want to just rehash the old stuff.
Okay.
So I've always got tunes that I've, had on the back burner or have, written and never performed, or have performed live and never recorded, whatever the case may be. So I had some of those, and then I wrote some new stuff as well for the album, and just kind of, once it was decided that that's what was going to happen, it started to happen pretty quick after that. Any
particular studio band members that you chose?
Yeah, I've got a friend in Memphis named John C. Stubblefield, and he plays in a wicked band called Lucero. A bass player extraordinaire and great producer as well. And I had reached out to John when I was getting ready to make my last album, which was almost 10 years ago, to see if he'd be interested in doing something. And he was. We just couldn't get it together. So I ended up making that record in Ontario with Steve Mariner, which turned out great. But I reached out to John just to see if he was available to play on it, and he said absolutely, and he said he'd love to help put it together. And so he was tasked with finding a drummer, and then so I had my core band there, and then as funds kept rolling in, I was like, okay, I can afford a keyboard player. So I reached out to Rick Steff through Kevin Houston. Rick is a number one call in Memphis for any variety of genre of music for keys, and also plays in Lucero as well, and is a genius, a melodic genius. And he was all too willing to do it. Okay. And then the final kind of icing on the cake was I had a couple of tunes that I really wanted to put horns on. One song, which is called Good Enough, is a real kind of like, in my mind, it's like a Stax Memphis vibe. And I really wanted to go, I think I actually told Kevin I wanted to go full Memphis on that one and put the horns on it. And then there was another one that's kind of more of a reggae vibe, for lack of a better description, called Salt and Sea. And I really wanted horns on that one as well. And so Kevin reached out to guys who, they currently play with Little Feat. They were Greg Allman's horn section previous to that, and Artie, the sax player, played with J.J. Gray for years, who I'm a huge fan of. So Kevin secured them to do a couple tunes. Mark Franklin, who's the trumpet player, he did the arrangement for the tunes, and they turned out just great. I was just thrilled to have those guys there. It was really surreal.
Yeah, I actually liked the album when I actually listened to it. It kind of brought back the memories of you doing your stuff here in the Maritimes.
Yeah.
And then I went, wait a minute, he's no longer here.
No.
But that's
so weird to me too.
That's okay. That means that you've grown and put roots somewhere else, which is more central to your liking, probably.
Well, I mean, it's a long way from the ocean, I'll tell you that. That's my only real complaint. But, my wife is from here, and that's ultimately what brought me out here. We have two beautiful little boys, and I've been spending most of my time kind of working on that. And then a couple years ago, I went to Ireland on a trip with my best friend, and something happened when I was over there that just really lit a creative fire in me again, and a real desire to start kind of sourcing government money to maybe make some new music. So that was in 2023, I think. So I just sort of slowly started kind of looking into ways I could create stuff without having to spend my own money. I don't really have any of my own money, so without having to spend my wife's money.
Oh, okay. Well, they have a saying in French which loosely translates to, when you hunt nature, nature comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
That kind of encompasses most people that have a creative fire that kind of dims down due to life, due to anything that could happen. And then they eventually get back into it. It's just a matter of time.
I mean, to be honest with you, I've been writing the whole time that I have kind of been laying low. I've got a couple of tunes, co-writes with Chris Kirby and Matt Anderson on a couple of Matt's albums, and always collecting ideas that the world kind of spits at me and jot those down. So there's never any shortage of material to mine for full songs. So when it was time to kind of pull the trigger on it, all I really had to do was sit down and focus and kind of highlight the lines that really spoke to me, and then just elaborate on those. And that's really, for the new stuff, that's really what happened. A couple of things kind of came out real quick, but once you start the ball rolling, like you said, it really starts rolling its own. Tom Waits has a great story where he says, someone asked him in an interview about writing songs. He's like, oh, people will line up for anything. He's like, once you get a couple of songs lined up, other songs just start lining up behind them. They don't even know what they're waiting for.
That's true.
And he's not wrong. Once the creative stuff gets going and the muse sees you working hard, she can be kind.
True. It's very rare that songwriters like yourself will actually end up having issues trying to string seeds into sproutlings that eventually become trees with extensions, roots, and the whole mycelium network that actually allows you to grow organically in your craft. So,
yeah, I mean, the seeds are the easy part. That's the inspiration part. But you have to have the tools. You have to know how to garden. And if you don't have those tools and you just constantly wait for the inspiration, you're probably not going to write a whole lot of songs.
Yeah.
So I've worked pretty hard over the years at figuring out what it is I like about certain kinds of writing, and when I look at my own writing, what it is mechanically, how it looks and how it operates. And I do, honestly, a lot of my writing, once I get that inspiration line, the seed of it, I mostly look at it mechanically first, and look at the rhymes and look at the beats and the measure, and kind of go from there. And that really helps me choose the words that follow or precede, the stuff I got for free.
You write with a guitar, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I do, yeah. It's not. I mean, I have a piano, and I do like to tinker around on that. But it's not very often that when I go to kind of put melody to something that it's very rare I'm not picking up a guitar. It's just it's the thing that I'm most comfortable on.
Okay.
But if I get real stuck, I will switch to a piano or something that's not as familiar, just to kind of get out of my old habits and patterns.
Okay. So I know that the album's getting traction, which is a good thing. As a human being, because you're not just a man with a machine that you like to actually swing around.
That's true.
Do you even have time for hobbies? I know you're a family man now. You've got 2 kids, a wife, probably a cat and a dog somewhere lurking behind.
No cats and dogs, but I got a couple jobs, a couple kids, wife. It's a very busy life. It is. There is not a lot of time for anything, it seems, some days. But I do have hobbies. I'm a record nerd, so I like to go to the record shop and look through stuff. I like to read, or listen to books nowadays. So I'm driving a lot of times. So, and I don't know. My hobby is playing guitar and writing, so it's really like a twofold sort of thing.
I mean, you're the epitome of music when it comes to it. You're similar to most musicians that I actually interview because they have the same thing. It's like I don't have time for anything else, and this is pretty much what I go to whenever I have free time.
Yeah, I mean, one of my hobbies is listening to music. I'm an avid music listener. Every Friday I check out the new releases to see, if there's something in there that I'm going to get happily obsessed about. I love finding new music that I can't stop listening to and that I have to tell all my friends about. So, in one way or another, music has always been my hobby, and maybe that led me to kind of chasing it professionally. But honestly, I guess I'm still in whatever way a professional musician, if I had to explain myself that way. But I don't do it for a profession, if that makes sense. I still have a really high expectation of quality on myself and from other stuff that I listen to, but I don't do it for a living, solely for a living. I do make some money off of it, but not only. So that allows me to really still be in love with it all the time.
Okay.
one thing I'd forgotten is how hard it is to put a record out, and it's so much work, and it's even harder when you have 2 jobs and 2 kids. Last time I put an album out, I didn't have a job or kids, so I had a lot of time to put into it. But it's really challenging.
Not to mention all the forums that if you're filling out for grants and whatnot, it's
grants gross. And so it's necessary evil.
It is, unfortunately. Now the last question I have is one that you might be surprised by. What's your favorite food dish?
Oh man, I love food. That should be in my hobbies list too. That's a good question. What is my favorite? Like if we're talking like last meal sort of thing, there's a couple of different things. So I'm being a maritime boy and of a certain age, I was raised on casseroles, and one of my favorites is a hash brown casserole. And it's got like cream of mushroom soup in it and cheese and cornflakes on top, and it's so freaking good. That would be one of the side dishes for sure. What would be the main course? Oh God, pretty much any kind of like French dish where there's protein covered in a delicious creamy sauce of some sort. I love French cooking. I love Italian, Asian food. Give me a good old fashioned, sweet and sour chicken ball dinner, and I'm a pretty happy man. I'm also a pretty big wine nerd these days, Nick. So I often, when I think of like what am I going to eat, I look at my wine drawer. Let's see what I've got there, and then I usually kind of try and put something together with whatever wine is speaking to me at that moment. Yeah, so I don't know if I could pick any one food, but it's I love all food.
Is there anything that you'd like to end the interview with?
I'm just grateful, for people like yourself and anyone who is listening to the album and wants to listen to the album. It's just wild to me to be putting a record out again, and I don't know. I'm just thankful to be able to be in a position to create something new again and put it out into the world, and kind of go through this process, and then eventually I'll be, sitting around someday on the couch looking around, thinking, I should probably do that again. I'll have forgotten how painful this was, and then go at it again.
Yeah. So if we want to visit your website, it's rossneilson.com, is it?
Yeah, it's .com. My last name is Neilsen. So rossneilson.com, that'll take you to my Bandcamp. You can listen to stuff there. Mm-hmm. You can listen to my stuff on any major streaming place, wherever you like to listen to music these days. It'll be there as well. Okay. You can get physical copies off my Bandcamp too. I'll mail them out to you once Canada Post is a thing again. I'm just thanks for spending time with me. For
the last record that you released, any plans on doing vinyl? I'm assuming probably.
Yes.
Knowing it's probably going to be a thing.
Yeah, I did press 108 copies, actually, a very specific number. If you are a vinyl nerd, you can order through my website. I'm going to be looking into an alternative way to ship because I've got orders waiting to go. Literally, my vinyl came. I went to the post office the next day to mail the pre-order stuff. And
they went on strike.
Veronica, our lovely postmaster near our house, she's like, yesterday midday they went on strike. I was like, cool. Okay, I'll take these home and find a different way to get them to people. So I'm just going to poke around and see if there's another affordable way. I mean, there's no affordable way to ship vinyl these days. It's like, even through Canada Post, it's $30 a pop. So
yeah, and mostly because of the size.
Yeah, size, weight, fuel tariffs, all the above. It's just one thing after another that makes it more expensive. So. But yeah, there's vinyl to be had on my Bandcamp. If you live in the United States, best to send me an email because right now I don't know what it looks like. I'm about to mail some through to the U.S., so I don't know what it'll look like. All the record stores I know personally aren't shipping to the United States right now because of tariffs, so I don't know when that'll change or how it'll change, but... And maybe it's different if it's like a personal gift, kind of quote-unquote gift thing.
Yeah. My word to the wise is that if you decide to send anything, just make sure that if it's a buyer, you can do gift, but
Yeah.
If push comes to shove and the U.S. Border Masters ask you for proof, you're gonna have to kind of give them a receipt, which won't work. So avoid that. You can easily just make sure that you've got a bona fide agreement between you and the buyer that they're going to incur the extra costs regardless of what they are.
Yeah, this is where we're at right now. So I don't even know if currently, I didn't know how to turn off international shipping on my Bandcamp, so I just put the shipping price so crazy expensive that nobody would click on it. So currently, I don't think that'll be an issue, but I do, I want to send a record to my production team, Kevin and John. So I got to figure out a way to do it, but it is a gift for those guys, so it should be okay. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, but everyone else in Canada and beyond, you can reach out to me on Bandcamp there, and I'll get it sent out to you.
Okay. Well, Ross, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks. It's great to see you again. Talk to you again.
See you next time.
Yeah, you bet, man. Cheers.